Racist woman humiliates young black woman in jewelry store, but panics upon discovering her true identity. At Starlight Diamonds, a young black woman, Maya, finds herself at the center of an unexpected humiliation caused by an arrogant employee. However, what this employee does not know is that the young woman is not just an ordinary customer. She is the daughter of the store owner. This revelation triggers a series of events that will challenge not only Sarah's convictions, but also the value of justice in a world filled with inequalities. Maya, at 21, carries the weight of an important legacy. The daughter of James Carter, owner of the luxurious Starlight Diamonds, she is a law student who dreams of changing the world, yet faces the harsh reality of prejudice. As she enters the store, her heart races. The environment is stunning, filled with sparkling jewelry, but she immediately senses the tension in the air. Sarah, an employee who seems to have grown accustomed to the elite clientele of the store, looks at her with disdain. To Sarah, Maya's presence there is a mistake, an intrusion into a space that, in her mind, is not reserved for people like her. The way Sarah treats her makes Maya feel invisible and unwelcome. When she tries to ask questions about a diamond necklace, Sarah's response is cutting and full of sarcasm. Sarah's contempt not only hurts Maya, but also makes her question her own identity and place in the world. As the young woman struggles to maintain her composure, the tension escalates, drawing the attention of other customers. A sense of injustice begins to take hold of her. The insecurity that had accompanied her until that moment transforms into determination, and by revealing who she truly is, Maya takes a brave step toward the truth. The commotion catches the attention of James, her father, who soon notices the inappropriate behavior of the employee. He leaves his office, where he usually focuses on administrative tasks, and confronts the scene. Upon seeing his daughter, James cannot ignore the pain in her eyes. He is a man who values integrity and respect, and now he finds himself facing a situation that challenges his values. When he confronts Sarah, he not only defends his daughter, but also reaffirms the principles that uphold his business. What began as a normal day at the jewelry store transforms into a decisive moment that will mark the lives of everyone involved. Maya realizes that the fight against prejudice is not only personal, but also collective. By choosing to confront discrimination, she not only stands up for herself, but also becomes a voice for those who lack the courage to speak out. Maya's story is a powerful reminder that, even in hostile environments, it is possible to find strength and dignity. In the end, she not only rises against injustice but also inspires others to do the same, as Starlight Diamonds becomes a symbol of inclusion and respect. After the humiliation at Starlight Diamonds, Maya felt desolate, as if the ground had disappeared beneath her feet. Sarah's arrogance had hit her hard, and the revelation of her true identity did not bring the satisfaction she expected. On the contrary, it left a bitter taste in her mouth, as if the battle was just beginning. She walked away from the store, the sparkle of the jewelry now overshadowed by the pain she felt. As she walked through the streets of her city, Maya reflected on what had happened. With each step, her indignation grew within her. It was not just a matter of status or money, it was about dignity and respect. What bothered her most was not just Sarah's attitude, but the fact that this mentality persisted in many places. A part of her wanted to scream, but another part knew she needed to be more strategic. In law school, Maya had learned about injustice and inequality. Her professors often spoke about the importance of fighting against adversity. Now that lesson seemed more relevant than ever. With the support of her classmates, she decided she would not let the situation go unnoticed. There was something inside her that pulsed for change. She wanted to be the voice of many who faced discrimination, and the idea of becoming a human rights lawyer began to take shape in her mind. However, the path to change would not be easy. In college, Maya felt the constant pressure to prove her worth. Her classmates, while mostly supportive, also had their own struggles and challenges. Lucas, a close friend, always supported her, but even he faced his difficulties. He was a student from a humble background who struggled to stay in school. Their friendship grew, but the reality of their lives often tested them. Lucas, who always believed in Maya's potential, encouraged her to turn her pain into action, but Maya felt insecure. Would it be possible to face such a big battle? The fear of failure consumed her, but the thought of not trying left her even more distressed. Maya decided that the first step would be to talk to her father about the incident. James Carter, a respected man in the community, had always taught her the importance of integrity. As she entered his office, Maya found her father engaged in an animated phone conversation. He was always busy, but always made a point to listen to his daughter. When he finally hung up, the look of concern on his face made her hesitate. Maya knew that what she had to say would not be easy. "Dad, I need to talk about what happened in the store," she began, her voice trembling. James looked at her seriously, and she continued, recounting the humiliation she had suffered at Sarah's hands. He listened attentively, and with each word from his daughter, his heart ached. He knew that, although his store was a symbol of success, there was a dark side that needed to be confronted. "I can't leave this like this, Dad. I need to do something," Maya said, the determination growing within her. James, admiring his daughter's courage, felt a weight on his own conscience. He had fought his whole life to build a legacy, but now he saw that the foundations of that legacy were being tested. He remembered his own struggles as a black man, in a world that often did not accept him. What Maya was going through was a reflection of what he had faced, and it made him realize that he needed to support her. "I'll help you, Maya. We need to make this situation visible and fight against it together," James replied, his voice steady. This declaration brought a new energy to Maya, and she felt that she was not alone in this fight. However, the path was far from clear. The next day brought new difficulties. When confronted by James about her behavior, Sarah not only denied any wrongdoing, but also tried to belittle Maya, suggesting that she was just trying to get attention. This reaction only fueled Maya's anger, making her feel undervalued once again. She realized that the struggle would be not only against discrimination, but also against the resistance and denial of many who did not see the problem. What Maya did not know was that this battle would lead her to a place of self-discovery and strength that she had never imagined. The internal conflict within her grew stronger each day, and as she prepared to face the world, she became more aware of her own identity. The idea of being an advocate for rights was not just an ambition, it was a calling. And with each new obstacle, Maya was determined to turn her pain into power, even if she didn't yet know exactly how. Maya woke up the next morning with a weight on her heart. The humiliation at the jewelry store still echoed in her mind, and the determination she had felt the night before now seemed like a flickering flame. She looked at herself in the mirror and for a moment questioned her own strength. What made her different from Sarah? What allowed her to fight against discrimination when so many people around her seemed so indifferent? Upon arriving at college, the atmosphere felt oppressive. The conversations of her classmates surrounded her, but she felt isolated. Laughter echoed, but Maya couldn't join in. Lucas noticed that something was wrong and approached her. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked, concern etched on his face. Maya forced a smile. "I'm just thinking about some things." But the truth was that she felt more lost than ever. The idea of becoming a human rights lawyer now seemed like an insurmountable mountain. She remembered her teacher's words about the struggle against injustices, but the pressure to meet those expectations made her anxious. "You know you can count on me, right?" Lucas said, trying to encourage her. "If you need help studying or just want to vent, I'm here." Lucas's offer was sincere, but Maya feared that sharing her insecurities would only make her more vulnerable. In the days that followed, the pressure mounted. In addition to her internal struggle, Maya began to notice that some of her classmates, those who had previously seemed supportive, started to distance themselves. The news of the incident at the store had spread, and Maya's image was being distorted. Instead of being seen as a victim, she was treated as someone seeking attention. This left her even more frustrated. How could people be so insensitive? In a class on human rights, the professor brought up famous cases of discrimination and resistance. Maya felt inspired, but at the same time, disillusionment consumed her. What would happen if she failed? What if no one wanted to hear her voice? These questions haunted her as she tried to focus. Deep down, she knew she needed to stand up and fight, but the thought of failing paralyzed her. In a moment of desperation, she decided she needed to take action. She organized a small discussion group with some classmates, interested in changing the college culture. The first meeting was scheduled, but the anticipation was quickly replaced by frustration when only a few showed up. The feeling of failure hit her like a wave. What was she doing wrong? Why did it seem like no one cared? Lucas was there and saw the disappointment in Maya's eyes. "This is just the beginning, Maya. Don't give up. If people won't come to us, maybe we need to go to them," he suggested. This idea sparked a new hope in Maya, She began to plan a small campaign about discrimination and respect, something that could raise awareness across the college. However, even with this new idea, self-confidence remained an obstacle to overcome. As she worked on the campaign, Maya faced new challenges. She began to receive anonymous messages on social media, mocking her attempt to make a difference. The attacks on her dignity hit her deeply. Each new message was a cruel reminder of what Sarah had done to her. That pain felt endless, and the internal battle between her determination and the fear of failure became a vicious cycle. One night, after a long day of studying and planning, Maya sat alone on her bed, tears streaming down her face. The weight of the pressure made her feel like she was sinking into an abyss. She wondered if she really had what it took to face this fight. It was then that her father, hearing her cry, entered the room. He hugged her tightly, and in that moment Maya realized she was not alone. "You are stronger than you think, Maya, and even if you fail, there will always be a new opportunity. The important thing is that you are fighting for the truth," James said, with wisdom that came from his own experiences. Her father's words touched her deeply, and for the first time, she felt a little of the burden lift. That same week, Maya decided that she would not allow fear to paralyze her. With the help of Lucas and a few other friends who believed in her, they organized an event at the college. It was a discussion panel on discrimination and empowerment, where everyone could share their stories. She was nervous, but she finally felt that she was taking the reins of her own life. When the day of the event arrived, Maya stood in front of a nearly empty room, but still, she was determined. With each word that came out of her mouth, she felt she was reconnecting with her purpose. The struggle would not be easy, but she was willing to face it, not just for herself, but for everyone who had ever felt undervalued. Before we continue with this exciting story, take a moment to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any stories, and let us know which city you are watching this video from in the comments. And so, with a heart still trembling, Maya began to understand that the true battle was not just against others, but also against her own fears and insecurities. This new perception drove her to move forward, even if the path was filled with obstacles. From that moment on, every step she took would be an act of courage, not just for herself, but for all those who supported her. Maya was nervous, but determined. The event she organized at the college was about to start, and even with the room almost empty, she felt that this was an important step. When she began to speak, her words came out with sincerity and passion. She shared her experiences, her struggles, and what motivated her to continue fighting against discrimination. But as she spoke, the internal challenges she faced began to resonate louder in her mind. She remembered the hurtful messages she had received, the muffled laughter, the disdainful looks from some people. At the end of her presentation, a few people started to clap, but the noise was not encouraging. Deep down, Maya felt even more insecure. What made her worthy of being heard? Why should she be the voice for others? This doubt still haunted her, and the idea of failing left her restless. Then something unexpected happened. A classmate, Anna, raised her hand. "Can I speak?" Anna's request made Maya's heart race. She hadn't expected anyone to want to engage. Anna stood up and with a trembling voice began to share her own story. She spoke about how she had been a victim of bullying at school and how it had affected her deeply. Tears streamed down her face as she spoke, and the room began to fill with empathy. Anna's courage made Maya realize that she was not alone. Other people began to speak up, sharing their own experiences of pain and overcoming. Each account was an echo of what Maya had felt. She felt connected to each of those voices that, like hers, longed for recognition and respect. The event, which had started almost empty, was now filled with people willing to open up and discuss the discrimination they faced. It was a powerful moment. Maya understood that although there were people who attacked her, there was also a group that needed support and solidarity. This unexpected revelation shook her beliefs. She realized that her fight was not just about herself, but about all those who had been silenced. The focus shifted, and instead of worrying about what others thought, she concentrated on how she could help. But as the night came to an end, a new challenge presented itself. As she left the auditorium, Maya encountered Sarah, her former rival. Sarah was surrounded by a group of friends, and the look of disdain Maya received was like a punch to the stomach. "Look at that, the hero of the day," Sarah mocked. "Do you think this will change anything?" The laughter of the group echoed like a cruel taunt, and Maya felt the old fear return. She hesitated, but instead of letting it shake her, she took a deep breath. She remembered the voices that supported her, the stories that had been shared. Actually, it changes everything, Maya replied, trying to keep firmness in her voice. We are here to fight for respect and equality. The confidence she felt before the event began to dissipate, but Maya remembered what her father had said. Even if she failed, there would always be a new opportunity. From that moment on, what had once seemed like a solitary battle transformed into a collective struggle. She decided that she would not only confront Sarah, but would also invite others to join her. It was no longer just about her pain, it was about the pain of many. Maya realized that her past failures of not speaking up earlier were part of the learning process. She didn't need to be perfect, she needed to be authentic. In the following days, she and Lucas began to work on a larger project. Together, they created a safe space at the college where students could share their stories without fear of judgment. The emotional impact of this new initiative was immense. Each shared testimony strengthened the community and diminished the sense of isolation many felt. Maya began to see success in a different way. What she had previously thought of as mere personal recognition was now transforming into a movement for change. She learned that true success lay in creating an environment where everyone felt valued, where their voices could be heard. Every small step she took, every story that was shared, was a victory. And as Maya continued her journey, she realized that she was no longer running alone. The support she received now came from a community united by empathy and the fight for justice. The transformation that began within her resonated outward, creating a wave of solidarity that challenged indifference and disdain. This new perspective gave Maya the strength she had been seeking, and finally, she began to believe in her power to make a difference. Maya felt that the atmosphere around her had changed after the event. The voices that were once whispers of pain had transformed into screams of hope. The safe space that she and Lucas had created at college began to attract students from different courses. With each new story shared, the sense of belonging grew. The room that had previously had only a few occupied chairs was now full, and the energy was palpable. However, with this new success, new challenges arose. The next day, as she walked across campus, Maya noticed different glances. Some people greeted her with smiles, while others merely looked at her with disdain. Sarah, the former rival, had not disappeared. In fact, she seemed more determined than ever to destabilize Maya. A group of students began to comment on the initiative, but not in a positive way. Malicious whispers reached her, and the words, "hero of the day," echoed like a provocation. Maya tried to ignore the comments, but insecurity tightened her chest again. She remembered Sarah's words and the laughter of the group. One day, while talking with Lucas about the importance of continuing the work, anxiety took over Maya. She questioned, "Am I just fooling myself? What if all of this ends up meaning nothing?" Feeling the pressure rise. Lucas, noticing her internal struggle, said, "Maya, you can't let the opinion of a few define who you are. Look at what you have already achieved." These words brought some comfort, but the truth was that the fear of failing still accompanied her. In the following weeks, she dedicated herself to organizing more meetings and lectures, but the pressure for everything to be perfect began to become unbearable. She felt responsible not only for her own emotions, but also for those of everyone who supported her. One night, on her way home, Maya decided to stop at a park. She sat on a bench and let the tears flow. She felt exhausted, as if she were carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. Then she heard a familiar voice. It was Anna, the colleague who had spoken up during the event. "Can I sit down?" Anna asked, and Maya nodded. The two talked about their fears and insecurities. Anna revealed that she also faced criticism, but was determined not to let it paralyze her. "If we stop now, it will be like letting them win. We are stronger together," Anna said, and those words resonated with Maya. She realized she was not alone in this fight. The friendship that was forming between them was a new kind of support, one that could help face the challenges ahead. With this new perspective, Maya decided she could not allow herself to be discouraged. She began to focus on the positive stories she heard, on the changes happening around her. The project that had started as a small gathering was now expanding to include workshops where students could learn about empathy and acceptance. People were coming together, and the voices that had once been silenced were now being heard. However, the resistance from some was still strong. In one meeting, a student raised his hand and began to question the validity of the project. "Why should we care about this? It's not that important," he said, challenging everyone. Maya felt her heart race. She knew these comments could destabilize the work they had done, but instead of hesitating, she decided to respond firmly. Every story matters. Every person matters. If we don't fight for this, who will? The room fell silent, and Maya realized her voice was stronger now. There was something powerful about speaking honestly about what she felt. She was not just advocating for the project, but for the importance of every human being, their experiences, and their pain. The looks from her peers began to change, and some started to express their support, but the struggle was far from over. In the following days, Maya realized she needed to take care of herself. The sleepless nights and pressure were affecting her health. Lucas encouraged her to take some time for herself. He suggested she practice meditation and take walks outdoors. At first, Maya hesitated, but she decided to give it a try. She realized that taking care of herself was as important as caring for others. As she walked through the park, she reflected on everything she had learned so far. The fight against discrimination was not just an individual effort, but a collective movement. By allowing herself to feel the pain, joy, and solidarity, Maya was strengthening herself. Each challenge became an opportunity for growth, and although the obstacles were still present, she knew she had a support group by her side. Maya began to understand that true strength lay in allowing herself to be vulnerable and in accepting help from others. The journey was long, but now she was no longer alone, and that made all the difference. Maya felt that the atmosphere around her had changed after the event. The voices that were once whispers of pain had transformed into screams of hope. The safe space that she and Lucas had created at college began to attract students from different courses. With each new story shared, the sense of belonging grew. The room that had previously had only a few occupied chairs was now full, and the energy was palpable. However, with this new success, new challenges arose. The next day, as she walked across campus, Maya noticed different glances. Some people greeted her with smiles, while others merely looked at her with disdain. Sarah, the former rival, had not disappeared. In fact, she seemed more determined than ever to destabilize Maya. A group of students began to comment on the initiative, but not in a positive way. Malicious whispers reached her, and the words, "hero of the day," echoed as a taunt. Maya tried to ignore the comments, but the insecurity tightened in her chest again. She remembered Sarah's words and the group's laughter. One day, while talking to Lucas about the importance of continuing the work, anxiety took over Maya. She questioned, "Am I just fooling myself? What if all of this amounts to nothing?" Feeling the pressure rise, Lucas, noticing her internal struggle, said, "Maya, you can't let the opinion of a few define who you are. Look at what you've already accomplished." These words brought some comfort, but the truth was that her fear of failing still accompanied her. In the following weeks, she dedicated herself to organizing more meetings and lectures, but the pressure for everything to be perfect began to feel unbearable. She felt responsible not only for her own emotions, but also for those of everyone who supported her. One night, while returning home, Maya decided to stop at a park. She sat on a bench and let the tears flow. She felt exhausted, as if she were carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. Then she heard a familiar voice. It was Anna, the colleague who had spoken up during the event. "Can I sit down?" Anna asked, and Maya nodded. The two talked about their fears and insecurities. Anna revealed that she also faced criticism, but was determined not to let it paralyze her. "If we stop now, it will be like letting them win. We are stronger together," Anna said, and those words resonated with Maya. She realized she was not alone in this fight. The friendship that was forming between them was a new kind of support, one that could help face the challenges to come. With this new perspective, Maya decided she couldn't let herself be discouraged. She began to focus on the positive stories she heard, on the changes happening around her. The project that had started as a small meeting was now expanding to include workshops where students could learn about empathy and acceptance. People were coming together, and the voices that had once been silenced were now being heard. However, the resistance from some was still strong. In a meeting, a student raised his hand and began to question the validity of the project. "Why should we care about this? It's not that important," he said, challenging everyone. Maya felt her heart race. She knew that these comments could destabilize the work they had done, but instead of hesitating, she decided to respond firmly. Every story matters. Every person matters. If we don't fight for this, who will? The room fell silent, and Maya realized her voice was stronger now. There was something powerful about speaking honestly about how she felt. She was not only defending the project, but also the importance of every human being, their experiences and their pain. The looks from her peers began to change, and some started to voice their support. But the struggle was far from over. In the following days, Maya realized she needed to take care of herself. The sleepless nights and pressure were affecting her health. Lucas encouraged her to take some time for herself. He suggested she practice meditation and take walks outdoors. At first, Maya hesitated, but she decided to give it a try. She realized that taking care of herself was just as important as taking care of others. While walking through the park, she reflected on everything she had learned so far. The fight against discrimination was not just an individual effort, but a collective movement. By allowing herself to feel the pain, joy, and solidarity, Maya was strengthening herself. Every challenge became an opportunity for growth, and even though the obstacles were still present, she knew she had a support group by her side. Maya began to understand that true strength lay in allowing herself to be vulnerable and in accepting help from others. The journey was long, but now she was no longer alone, and that made all the difference. Over time, she realized that what truly mattered was not just success itself, but the connections she formed and the lessons she learned along the way. This understanding transformed her worldview, and she felt richer than ever, not in material goods, but in meaningful experiences and friendships. Maya felt her heart racing as she prepared for the presentation that could change everything. The auditorium was full, and the tension in the air was palpable. The voices that had once been whispers of support now mingled with murmurs of doubt. She knew that many in attendance were waiting for a slip-up, a mistake that could discredit all the work she had done with Lucas and the others. The group supporting the initiative was stronger, but the presence of Sarah and her allies loomed like a shadow, ready to attack. When she stepped onto the stage, Maya looked out at the audience. The nervousness nearly paralyzed her, but when she saw Anna giving her an encouraging nod, she felt a surge of courage. She took a deep breath and began to speak. She explained the importance of the project, how it brought together people from different backgrounds and experiences. Every word that left her mouth felt like a step toward overcoming her fears. But when she finished her presentation, a heavy silence hung in the air. Then, a student stood up. It was the same one who had questioned the project before. What if this is just a way to get attention? Life is tough and we don't have time for these superficial conversations, he said defiantly. Maya felt the ground shift beneath her feet. The hope she had built seemed threatened. However, looking at the faces around her, she realized she was not alone. A wave of support was growing among the students who believed in change. I understand what you're saying, Maya replied, her voice firm. But this isn't just a superficial conversation. This is about real lives, real experiences. Each of us carries our own struggles. We can't ignore that. The room fell silent, and she felt the weight of her words resonating. In fact, this is an opportunity for transformation, a space for everyone to feel seen and heard. The tension rose. Sarah stood up, a disdainful look on her face. Do you really think this is going to change anything? People are who they are. This is all just a dream. The provocation was clear, and the murmurs in the audience grew louder. Maya felt adrenaline coursing through her veins. If she hesitated now, everything she had built could come crumbling down. I may not change the world on my own, Maya began, but I can change one person's life at a time. And if just one person feels welcomed and seen, that's already worth it. This project isn't about being a heroine, but about creating a space where everyone can find strength. The words flowed from her heart, and as she spoke, she remembered all the stories she had heard, the struggles she had faced, and the connections she had formed. The room felt electrified. More students began to speak up, raising their hands, sharing their own experiences and how the project had impacted their lives. The voices that were once whispers now transformed into a chorus of support. Sarah, realizing she had lost control of the situation, tried to interrupt, but other students began to defend Maya. The atmosphere had completely changed. Maya felt a wave of relief and joy as she saw her peers come together. There was something powerful in the solidarity forming before her. The weight she carried felt lighter. When she looked at Anna, she saw a glimmer in her friend's eyes, as if they both knew they were indeed changing something. With the audience now on her side, Maya concluded her presentation. We can be the change we want to see, not just for ourselves, but for future generations. This project is just the beginning. Together, we can build a space where everyone feels safe to be who they really are. Applause erupted throughout the auditorium, and the energy that had once been filled with uncertainty now pulsed with hope and determination. In that moment, Maya realized she had overcome her greatest challenge. She hadn't just defended herself, she had also allowed herself to be vulnerable, and that vulnerability turned into strength. What had once seemed a distant dream was now becoming a tangible reality. Her friendship with Anna and the support of Lucas solidified, and she understood that true wealth wasn't in being recognized as a heroine, but in creating meaningful connections and genuinely impacting lives. As she left the auditorium, with a light heart and a clear mind, Maya knew that the journey was just beginning. She had learned that even amid adversity, there was beauty in the struggle, and that every small victory was an important step in building a more inclusive and welcoming future. Life would continue to bring challenges, but now, surrounded by friends and supporters, she was ready to face them. After the presentation, Maya felt a mix of relief and euphoria. The auditorium, which had once seemed a place of judgment, was now a vibrant space, full of support and understanding. The voices that had once murmured in doubt now echoed in warm applause. She felt light, as if a huge weight had been lifted off her shoulders. Next to her, Anna was smiling, her eyes shining with the same joy that flooded Maya's heart. Maya decided it was time to talk to the students who had spoken up. A group gathered around her, and she listened attentively. Each shared their stories, their struggles, and how the project meant more than just a school initiative. It was a symbol of hope and change. "I never thought anyone really cared about how we feel," one student said, his voice trembling. "You made me feel like my voice matters." Those words touched Maya deeply. She realized she wasn't alone in her journey. Others also longed for a space where they could be heard. It was a moment of connection she would never forget. With each new account, she felt stronger and more determined to continue her work, not just as a leader but as a friend and ally. As they talked, Lucas approached. He smiled, relieved by how everything had unfolded. "You were amazing, Maya," he said, lightly patting her shoulder. "I never doubted you." Maya felt a wave of gratitude. Lucas had always been by her side, and his unwavering support was one of the pillars that helped her face adversity. But even amid the celebration, the shadow of Sarah still lingered in Maya's mind. What would she say now? The rivalry between them seemed far from over, and Maya knew she would need to be ready for the challenges still to come. "Do you think Sarah will give up on this?" Maya asked Lucas, worried. He shook his head. "She's not the type to back down easily, but you have an incredible support group now. We'll face this together." As the days passed, the repercussions of the presentation began to spread throughout the school. Other students approached Maya, eager to get involved in the project. What had started as a small idea was now growing, and the school community was beginning to rally around it. The teachers noticed the change and started to support the initiative, helping to promote events and discussions. Maya felt at home there. She began organizing weekly meetings where everyone could share their experiences and ideas. The space transformed into a refuge where everyone was welcome. She saw once tense faces relax, smiles emerge, and laughter echo. Each gathering was a celebration of diversity and collective strength. But Sarah's presence was still a constant challenge. At one of these meetings, Sarah showed up, bringing with her a group of students who had previously supported her. The air grew heavy and the tension was palpable. Maya, however, took a deep breath and decided she would not back down. "We are here to build a welcoming space," she said, looking into Sarah's eyes. "You can join us or continue to criticize, but here everyone has a voice." Sarah hesitated. For a moment, Maya saw a sign of vulnerability in her rival's expression, but soon the mask of disdain returned to Sarah's face. "I'm not interested in hearing your excuses," she shot back, but even so, something had changed. The room was filled with support for Maya, and Sarah's resistance seemed less powerful in the face of that unity. After the meeting, Maya and Anna talked about what had happened. "You were brave," Anna said. "I think even Sarah can see that she is not alone. We all need support, even when we don't know how to ask for it." Maya reflected on those words. The rivalry was merely a reflection of fears and insecurities. She wished Sarah could see that, but she knew change would take time. With each experience, Maya was becoming stronger and more resilient. She learned that the path to change wasn't easy, but it was worth it. Her life and the lives of others were intertwining in ways she had never imagined. Moments of vulnerability transformed into strength, and mutual support created bonds that challenged any adversity. As she watched her peers come together, Maya smiled. She knew the journey was just beginning, but she felt ready to face everything. There was a new sense of purpose in her life, and with each step, she was getting closer to a more inclusive and welcoming future, not just for herself but for everyone around her. Maya looked around the space where so many voices now united, a true mosaic of stories and experiences. The transformation she had witnessed in the past few months was extraordinary. Conversations that had once been whispers of insecurity were now shouts of hope and strength. However, Sarah's presence still loomed like a cloud. Even though things were changing, Maya knew the rivalry still needed to be resolved. That afternoon, after another meeting where everyone felt welcomed, Maya decided it was time to confront Sarah once and for all. She called her for a conversation, aware that this could be a turning point. When they met in a quiet corner of the school, Maya took a deep breath and with sincerity said, "I want you to know that I am not your enemy. I am here to help and build something together. I believe we all deserve a safe space." Sarah, with her arms crossed and a closed expression, looked at Maya. The silence lingered, but gradually, her gaze changed. She seemed to be reflecting on Maya's words. The rivalry that had once seemed so strong now felt like a layer of pain that could be undone. "You have no idea what I've been through," Sarah finally spoke, her voice softer. "I just wanted people to see me for who I really am." Maya felt a wave of empathy. "I understand you. We all struggle with something, but we don't have to do it alone." With that, a bridge was built. The conversation that could have been a confrontation transformed into a dialogue. They discovered that, although different, their experiences united them in unexpected ways. As the weeks passed, Sarah began to attend the meetings. Initially hesitant, she soon became an active voice, contributing ideas and listening to the stories of other students. What had started as a rivalry was now evolving into a budding friendship. Maya realized that by opening her heart, she was not only helping Sarah but also herself. This exchange of support became a powerful symbol of transformation. The project grew and gained strength. The school was becoming an example of acceptance and unity, and Maya felt proud of what they had achieved together. She had overcome her fears, learned the importance of empathy, and the strength that comes from vulnerability. With each new success, she felt closer to becoming the leader she had always dreamed of being. However, amidst this new phase, Maya decided it was time to show Sarah that her support was not a weakness, but a strength. At a meeting, she challenged everyone to write anonymous letters of support and gratitude to each other. Maya knew this could bring forth feelings that many were hiding. When the letters were read, tears of joy and laughter echoed throughout the room. Sarah received an anonymous letter praising her for her courage and strength, and her smile lit up the space. From that moment, the rivalry transformed into an alliance. Maya and Sarah became advocates for the project, combining their strengths to create an even more welcoming environment in the school. Maya reflected on how her journey had shaped her. She realized that true success was not just about winning battles, but about building genuine connections and helping others feel seen and heard. Now, looking back, Maya understood that each challenge had prepared her for this new phase. She had learned that true strength lies in unity and the ability to listen. The friendship that blossomed between her and Sarah was a testament to the power of empathy and mutual support. The story of Maya and her peers is a powerful reminder that we all have invisible struggles, and that by opening our hearts, we can create bonds that transform lives. If you relate to this journey, share your experiences in the comments. Let's spread this message of support and empathy together. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more inspiring stories like this one. Change starts with each of us.